5 Navy bombers took off on a routine training flight. Clear skies, full fuel. Then, silence. December 5th, 1945, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The United States Navy launched a standard navigational exercise known as Flight 19. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, each carrying 3 men, flying east toward the open Atlantic before turning north, then back toward base. It was supposed to last just 3 hours. A simple triangular route. Irony the sea must have enjoyed. The perfect day turns strange. At 2:10 p.m., the squadron lifted off. The weather was calm, the horizon clear. In the control tower, everything looked ordinary until the radio transmissions began to distort. At first, it was faint static, then a voice, tense, confused. "This is Fox Tear 28. We can't find West. Everything looks strange. The ocean doesn't look like it should." The voice belonged to Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, the flight leader, a decorated World War II pilot. His compass, he said, wasn't working. Neither were the others. Within minutes, all 5 aircraft reported the same thing. Their instruments had gone haywire. They couldn't tell which way was west. The control tower tried to guide them home, triangulating their position. But Taylor's voice grew more erratic. "We are not sure of our position. We can't make out land. Everything is wrong." The other pilots followed him blindly into the haze. The sea eats the sky. As the sun began to fall, radio operators caught fragments of panic. "We can't hold heading. Even the ocean looks different. Don't come after us. They look like they're from outer space." That last line, uncertain, crackling with interference, was never confirmed. But it became legend. At 6:20 p.m., their final words came through the static. "We'll fly north until we run out of fuel." Then, nothing. No distress beacon. No crash detected. The 5 planes, their 15 crewmen, vanished over the Atlantic. Mid-sentence, the rescue that never returned. The Navy responded immediately. Within hours, a massive search and rescue mission was launched, one of the largest in American history. More than 300 aircraft and 21 ships scoured 250,000 square miles of ocean. Among them was a PBM Mariner seaplane carrying 13 rescuers. It took off from the Banana River Naval Air Station at 7:27 p.m. 10 minutes later, a nearby ship saw a flash of fire in the distance, a midair explosion. Then, silence. Again, no wreckage. No survivors. Another aircraft gone, swallowed by the same invisible force. The Navy lost 40 men in one day, and not a single trace of metal, oil, or bone was ever found. The investigation. When the official report was released, it offered no answers, only more questions. The phrase repeated throughout was chilling. Cause of disappearance, unknown. The pilots had enough fuel for 5 hours of flight. The weather was fair. The radio frequencies were functional. And yet, every system, compass, altimeter, directional gyro, failed simultaneously. Some blamed human error. Others said magnetic interference. But veterans who knew the Atlantic insisted 5 trained pilots don't all lose direction in clear weather at once. The aftermath families demanded answers. The Navy quietly moved on, and the press made history. Headlines called it the flight that disappeared, the defining moment that would turn the Bermuda Triangle from rumor into legend. Authors and journalists flocked to the mystery. They drew maps, circled coordinates, replayed the radio messages. Each retelling grew darker. Some claimed the pilots flew into a magnetic storm. Others swore they slipped through a rift in time. Decades later, divers scoured the seabed with sonar. They found wrecks, but never those planes. Not one. To this day, Flight 19 remains the most famous aviation disappearance in American history. The theory skeptics argue it was simple navigation error, that Taylor mistakenly led his squadron east over open ocean, thinking he was near the Florida Keys. When fuel ran out, they crashed into the sea. But even that logic feels incomplete. Why did the rescue plane vanish in the same airspace just minutes later? Why were there no oil slicks, no debris, no sign of impact in calm seas? The sea gave nothing back, and maybe it never will. Closing beat for Chapter 2. Flight 19 began as a simple exercise. 5 planes, clear skies, experienced pilots. But somewhere over the Atlantic, reality fractured. Instruments failed, voices trembled, and 15 men crossed a line the rest of us can only imagine. The Bermuda Triangle earned its curse that day. Not because of what we found, but because of what we didn't. When the ocean refuses to return your dead, you stop calling it water. You start calling it a mouth.